Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. Remember that if you want to be a part of our tech conversation, it is SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. With a number of companies working on 5G technology, this week we are asking you how much you know about 5G. Results of that are coming up later in the program. Here's what's coming up tonight. We find out about a Durban-based company that's trying to rival Uber. We go to West Africa where Jumia is helping with online deliveries. And our conversation is on America and Huawei and what's happening with the TIF over there. Now, Taxi Live Africa is a startup that started here in Durban. They're trying to rival Uber as a taxi-hailing app.
Many will be familiar with the taxi-hailing services like Uber and Taxify. They are international companies that have mobile phone applications that allow people to be dropped off at their doorstep. But they have some glitches.
Taxi hailing apps, I do use them. I think they're very helpful, but sometimes they can be very inconvenient. For example, you request and then you experience like wrong pickup locations or long pickup times. Sometimes you have to cancel. Or sometimes, for example, with Taxify, because I usually use Taxify, it's much cheaper for me. You find that sometimes you request and then on arrival you find another vehicle, whereas on the app it shows another vehicle, which is not good, because what if something happens, maybe you get kidnapped or you get robbed.
I use taxi hailing apps and I actually have never had a problem with them. It's always nice, fun rides. I'm always talkative and talking to the drivers and we laugh. And yeah, like I feel like they're really helpful.
They have had problems in South Africa. They are meter taxi drivers who target these. Despite this, one local player has entered the market. Taxi Live Africa is starting in Durban.
The company actually started late 2017, but the research for this company started way back as far as 2014. The purpose behind establishment of Taxi Live was the fact that I was actually motivated by the power that technology have, and me being a social entrepreneur, I really wanted to make a difference. And I could see at the time that there was a lot happening in this public transport industry, and I felt that there was a need for a South African company that can bring sort of mobility into the system.
Taxi Live Africa says they are taking safety of their passengers very seriously.
We've added some great important features into our app, and also try to make sure that we have live chat support whereby a client, also a driver, can be able to communicate with our staff in real time. That on its own, it will make the driver feel safe and feel comfortable that at least there is a third person, there is a third party involved in that ride.
As we drive around Durban, Luvuyo shows us how smooth the app runs. It's similar to the international ones. He says this is a market that can still have a number of players.
It's not easy because, especially for my product, it's a new product that is coming into a market. It's a South African product, and people, they always have a tendency of doubting things coming from South Africa. Even now, people are busy trying to test it, but I'm glad that everyone that has tried to test it, it has come out to be the good product.
Taxi Live Africa plans to expand to other parts of Africa.
Girl Ignite Africa is trying to do just that. They want to create female entrepreneurs in the technology and science space.
The Girl Ignite Africa program trains and places promising schoolgirls in holiday job shadowing arrangements with the aim of inspiring them to pursue careers in maths, science, technology or engineering. The future vision of the program is to have a critical mass of techno girls enter the workplace with skills and qualifications to ensure their sustained employment.
The whole purpose of the academy is to really enhance the current education system. So we run programs that are centered around social entrepreneurship, servant leadership, as well as STEM-related programs or education, which would entail coding, robotics. We've just started one program called Sustainable Gardening with Electronics, as well as creative arts.
The program is part of the UN's vision to help address the gender gap in the ICT sector.
Our kids are very much interested. It's a case of being exposed. One is that you find that the infrastructure is not there readily available. And as a result of that, what you don't know, you tend to not have an interest in. But when you actually put these tools in front of them and actually make it very applicable to real life, they then do have an interest, and they start becoming much aware of how, a STEM education is basically, a way of being able to solve a lot of problems that we see in our communities. And I think that the more we make these tools available to our kids, the more interest it will garner in their lives.
Science and technology is often seen as boring and difficult by many, but this initiative seeks to change that amongst high school pupils. Most of these young girls say they want to use technology to solve problems in their communities.
We went out on an outing around the Diepsloot community to check for problems that people face, and mostly is the problem of reporting crimes that happen around the area. So we have came up with an idea to create an app which will help people to report crime issues easily.
I will start by coding. I want to create my own app based on the long queues at the ATMs. I want to design my own ATM.
I learned that there are many opportunities out there. You can create the business for yourself, and you may help people around your community.
Girls on this program are also exposed to life skills as well as entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and other disciplines.
When Jumia launched in West Africa in 2012, they targeted people with internet access. But the number of Africans that could afford smartphones increased, and Jumia changed who they're targeting. They're targeting lower income households as well now.
Jumia Food, a unit of New York-listed e-commerce platform, Jumia Technologies, is offering cheaper menu options in its African home market to attract lower-income earners in effort to boost growth.
We're also looking now to target this mass-market customer that is really starting to come online over the last couple of years, for the first time realizing that a level of radical convenience and assortment is not just the preserve of the upper classes. It's now available to the mass market because the level of sophistication of technology, the level of experience that we now bring to on-demand means that we can hit a price point that's attractive to them.
The platform, which delivers food and drinks in 11 African countries, joins other international companies such as ride-hailing app Uber and China's Huawei Technologies, who are looking to grow their customer base on the continent beyond the middle class.
We have around 4,000 vendors on the platform. And the way I like to think about it is that we have roughly, I'd say maybe 99% or so of the vendors that we want to have on the platform. On the vendors side, it's not a numbers game. It's really a quality and assortment and trust game.
When it launched in 2012, Jumia Food focused on the middle class who could afford internet access, but growing smartphone use and plummeting data costs are opening up the market to lower income earners.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we chat about America's tiff with Huawei from China. Stay with us.
What are you predicting with the sixth parliament?
They've got to up their game.
Why is it so important for you to create platforms where people can share and grow?
I think there's something special about conversation and sharing of experiences.
Mkhwebane investigated the role of senior ANC leaders in the Free State, including then Premier.
Advocate Mkhwebane has never explained why she altered the provisional report in material ways.
The provisional report, there's no way where it's mentioning
time that the Premier is indicated.
This is such a massive festival, and what does it mean to you as an artist?
It's more than humbling for me to actually be showcasing everything about my music. So it's celebrating Africa.
As the world prepares to mark Nelson Mandela International Day this July, we speak to Africans on the continent and in the diaspora who are doing good. Individuals who reflect the values and legacy of South Africa's first democratically elected president.
It is a story about humanity's great capacity for goodness, for peace, and for hope.
Nelson Mandela was one of humanity's great leaders. He embodied the highest values of the United Nations.
Every day when you watched him lead from the front, from the back, from the side, was a masterclass.
Watch African Perspective on SABC News Channel 404 every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Central African Time.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now, there's been a tiff between America and China, which led to American President Donald Trump saying that he's blacklisting a number of Chinese companies, which include Huawei. Now, Google, which owns Android, decided that they were going to ban Android, or rather Huawei, from the Android operating system. Let's take a look.
Top representatives from the United States and China will meet in the coming week to continue trade talks between the world's largest economies. The two sides have already been in phone communication.
The leaders, our team leaders are Ambassador Lighthizer and Secretary Mnuchin. Now, I don't know precisely when. They're on the phone. They're going to be on the phone this coming week, and they'll be scheduling face-to-face meetings and lots of communications, and ditto for the staffs. I just don't want to predict. I want to get ahead of the story.
U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping agreed during a meeting in Japan last week to relaunch talks that had stalled in May. The partial lifting of restrictions on Huawei was a key element of the agreement reached over the weekend between President Donald Trump and Chinese President. Huawei, the world's biggest telecommunications equipment maker and number 2 smartphone maker, denies its product pose a security threat and has sought to fight back.
President Donald Trump of America has backtracked on his stance on Huawei, that at least for now. Now, to help us unpack things is Amanda Mate from Ndlovukazi Online Media. And thank you very much for joining us, Amanda. Now, what's been happening really between China and America and Huawei?
Let's unpack this. For the past 5 years, we've seen America gradually lose its key holding global economic power across the globe. China has been slowly and steadily growing through economic impact, power, and building hubs of industrialization across a number of countries. So what we're seeing here has been tension that's been brewing over time, primarily because of access to two key things: data and internet connectivity.
How important are data and connectivity in 2019?
The world is connecting in more ways than one. Facebook was an amplifier of that, the likes of Twitter, the likes of LinkedIn. What we need to understand is that people realize and utilize their mobile access to be able to converse, converge, and access mobile transfers, monies, you name it. Whatever we do in our lifestyle has been impacted by the use of mobile phones. The realization of that has been that data and connectivity is integral to that.
And data also affects the currencies we've been using, like the US dollar, does it not?
Well, that's the whole rise of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin currency. It's being able to transfer monies in new forms of currencies. But also, let's be quite clear, it means that global powers like the United States of America are losing ground because they're not at the forefront of the creation of these platforms. They're not at the forefront anymore of impacting and changing global economies.
Is there anything that America can do to block China and Huawei on the advances they've been making in technology?
Right now, what we need is good leadership. What we need is leadership that's willing to engage experts in the space. The fact that America would attempt to even block the developments taking place would be integral to them losing mass amounts of job opportunities for their own economy. I doubt that Trump would want to be the president that causes America its biggest downfall in terms of economic balance.
Tell us more on why Donald Trump has backtracked on all of this.
His whole campaign was, we want to make America great again. But America's greatness has always been based on industrialization and other key economies investing in its own shores. China, for the past 5 years, has been investing in terms of factories, in terms of job opportunities, and the mere fact of creating tension between the two could result in a number of Americans unemployed. Again, I don't think Trump wants to lose a presidency over a bad decision.
Why is President Trump of America not overtly saying that he has changed his mind on all of this? Why is he saying it's just a bit of time that he's given them?
It's a hard task to be president. It's hard to be a good leader, understand good leadership. Perhaps his position has been shifted by industry members. Remember, Huawei exists as a plug-and-play platform to the likes of Google, to the likes of Facebook. Now, if you're saying that Huawei can't plug and play and Huawei has the internet speed, the kind of money that's required to develop at a faster pace than the likes of your own, of Google, then you run the risk of upsetting a whole entire internet connectivity community that would literally be overtaken by the mere existence of one brand. So as opposed to saying, let's change the course, let's change it for now, is his position, which can still be concerning because that can change again in a year's time. That leaves a whole nation, a whole populace of people still not connected.
Has any of what's happened between China and America and Huawei fast-tracked the way Huawei actually works?
Well, policy, let's be very clear. Changes don't necessarily mean immediate changes in policies or tariffs in terms of engagements for countries. What we do know as South Africa is that our government is currently paying close attention to these fast tracking of changes. We've been engaging Huawei in terms of 5G technology, and they're at the forefront for the SADC region as well. What we do need to understand is how do we make sure that data, and particularly data of our citizens, is still protected, because that remains the key fundamental conversation to have.
What does it really mean for Africa at the end of the day?
Africa relies heavily on foreign-bought products in terms of technology. We're already paying a high price for it in the context of South Africa. In other regions of Africa, it's much more affordable. But imagine a tussle between two of these biggest world economic powers, resulting in Africa paying a higher percentage because of international trade. We've only just started conversations around Africa trade. And now global trade impacting on that means a limited circumference of access to technology. It means a higher number of percentage of people not being able to access this technology, which means we're still left behind in the fourth industrial revolution.
Amanda Mate, thank you very much for being a part of our network.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Crystal, and I have to say that my favorite piece of technology has got to be my phone. It certainly can do everything all at once. It's quicker than my computer. I don't have to move from so many different platforms, and it's just right in my hand. And I love it, and I wouldn't be able to even live without it. So that's it. It's an iPhone X.
There's been an escalation in gang shootings in areas such as the Cape Flats.
When the rule of law starts disappearing, we all worry. We don't want another Brazil, the Lavelas, where gangs control everything.
The purpose of this train ride, is it purely just to get first-hand experience of what commuters go through?
He made it very clear just now that he will not leave here shocked. He is well aware of those challenges.
My mandate from the president is to fix this.
One of the questions, of course, speaks to the practicality of this introduction of the new Zimbabwean dollar. What is its worth?
In a nutshell, this is it has got a lot of disadvantages to the people in the country. At the end of the day, we'll have uprisings in the streets.
I'm saying to you, you cannot show a middle finger to a Chapter 9 institution.
I want you that I'll switch off the mic.
Okay.
Yes, take your seat.
We will wait outside. When the constitutional delinquent finishes,
Honorable
we'll come
Malema,
back.
On a point of order.
Mama, tell me a story.
My child, I have a great story to tell you. Although we come from humble beginnings, we've done legendary things.
South Africa have won the 1996 African Cup of Nations.
Our lands are full of wonders. Even though sometimes things don't go our way, we find inner strength to persevere and push forward. We dress up for the occasion. Oh, how we love to dance and sing. We've seen our fair share of victories and disappointments. But we thrive when we are together. And that, my dear child, is the beautiful story of Africa.
SABC is the official broadcaster of AFCON 2019, Africa's beautiful story.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the tech space.
One of Google's so-called moonshots is trying to get its high-flying internet balloons off the ground in Kenya, where the tech giant hopes to deliver 4G cell phone services in its first commercial test ever. Born in 2011, Loon is now collaborating with Telkom Kenya to bring services to remote mountain villages in the coming months. And now in Germany. The country's only Green Party state premier told auto bosses in Berlin on Thursday that China, South Korea and the United States would not wait when it comes to developing electric car charging infrastructure.
Time is pressing. China, South Korea, the United States are not waiting. We have to cooperate quickly in a concerted action and enter an intensive structured working process.
Das ist das Ziel von Daimler für unsere Pkw-Flotte.
It is Daimler's goal and ambition for our passenger car fleet entitled Ambition 2039 that in 20 years we want to have our passenger car fleet CO2 neutral. Halfway there, in 2030, we want to have 50% of our sales to be electrified vehicles, powered by batteries and plug-in hybrids.
Elektrifizierten Fahrzeugen verkaufen wollen, batterieelektrische und Plug-in-Hybride.
Germany is trying to boost demand for electric vehicles on environmental grounds, and in response to diesel emissions cheating scandal that has engulfed the country's auto industry, notably Volkswagen but also others including Daimler in the last 3 years. And now in Norway. The world's first cruise ship propelled partially by battery power is set to head out from northern Norway on its maiden voyage, cruise operator Hurtigruten said on Monday, July 1st.
We'll shut down the engines and we will run only on battery power, thank you.
The hybrid expeditions cruise ship, the Roald Amundsen, can take 500 passengers and is designed to sail in harsh climate waters. Battery technology for propelling ships is in its infancy, even on shorter routes, as few ports provide charging stations.
Now, with a number of companies saying that they have started rolling out 5G, those companies include Nokia and Huawei. Our Twitter poll this week is asking you how much you know about 5G technology. Now, in first place, and the largest number of you, at 56%, are people who say they know nothing at all about 5G. Then in second place is 26%. Those are people who say they know just a little bit. And in last position, and the lowest number of of you is 9%. You know quite a lot about 5G technology. And at 10% are those of you who say you just do not care about what 5G technology actually is. That's it. That's all we have for you. You can find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. From Ms. Phumelele Zondi and the rest of the team right here in Durban, thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight. Have a good one. It's good night.
We're explorers. We always have